You are listening to Everything Old is New Again with Doug Viviani and David Cohen. Is that right, Bob? I know. Dave and Doug. Dave and Doug. Yeah, they'll do. Okay.
Well, actually, Doug, I have a little surprise for you. Yes, he's right outside the door. Hold on, I'm gonna bring him in.
All right, here we go. This should be interesting.
All right, just gonna put him down here. Put him right down here.
Here we
Describe
go.
for the listeners what you're looking at right now.
Look at this little guy. He's a cute little guy that say a little something. There we go. Oh, see, this is
his name is Bingo. It's Bingo the chimp.
This is where all this came from. This is so interesting. He's just jumping on the desk here. He just spilled my soda.
He's going to be the third member of our crew now, by the way. J. Fred Muggs reincarnated.
I wish I had some skates. He could skate around and put this on YouTube, and everybody would watch this. What a terrific little surprise. Thank you very much. I could never see that we would have any trouble with these apes ever
taking
in the
over.
future. Listen, the bottom line is we don't have to worry about this at all. Hey, wait a minute. What the? Hey, what? Welcome back. This is Everything Old is New Again. I am Douglas Viviani, joined by David Cohen. We have finally wrestled control back from the Apes, if you recall that show a little ways back, our Planet of the Apes show, Dave.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for bringing that little surprise into the studio.
Did not know the havoc he would wreak. Sorry.
It all started so innocently, and meanwhile the station has now taken a turn and said to us, you know what, the apes and the chimps might be able to do just as good a job as you guys do.
No, they think they believe they will. So
and they'll pay them just in bananas, not the big bucks that we get.
Of course, right.
It all started so innocently. Let's just listen to a smidge of how that started. Between those two, we've got that. Let's call it the Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig of chimpdom, and the Joe DiMaggio, if you will, is, if you're a baseball fan, is without question J. Fred Muggs, my favorite chimp of all time. Yes, he was a co-host of the show. There were times that they would put roller skates on him, and he would roll. The camera would stay stationary, and he'd roll from camera left to camera right. And in his hand, he'd have a placard with, let's say, the next guest that was to be on the show. And he would roll right across, and then he'd go back from right to left. And it was a big hit. Well,
we need that. We need. Look, I admit it. We need J. Fred Muggs in here to pump up the ratings.
Well, if there's a camera in here, it'd be really good. Running back and forth with that placard.
That's true.
Long story short on this, we just taking a look in the brand new year, 2015, couple days in, we wanted to take a look back at the 35 shows that we've done here on Long Island News Radio, and we've done some topics like, Lost in Space versus Star Trek, and stand-up comedy. Is hot dog still king? Dracula was one of Dave's favorites. I know. Any other favorites you're thinking of?
Hercules, Dave? Godzilla. We did a show on horse racing.
Yeah, we had
33 years. Seems to have.
Did I say years?
No, I did.
Oh.
I was trying to
Felt
be
like
funny.
33 years, yeah. 33 shows, 1 year long.
I didn't even know it was 33 shows. That seems like an awful lot of shows.
It's actually 35 now that I think about it.
Really?
Yes, 35 shows.
Wow.
You can go back to our podcast at everythingoldisnewagain.biz.
They're all there, right?
They're all there. Listen to any and all. Please give us some feedback. I just want to say that, take a moment, that the best thing that I have done in the development of this show was to ask my longtime friend from high school, Dave Cohen, to join us on the program. And thanks for being here, Dave.
Oh, thank you, Doug. It's been great.
All right. Well, let's take a look at what Dave individually has added to the show. In my view, some humorous times.
Well, look, Doug, I think what's happening here is that the apes are a metaphor for oppressed and persecuted classes of humans. African Americans, Jews, and any oppressed ethnic or religious group.
See, certainly I couldn't have done that myself, that's for sure.
Where did that come from?
I don't know if that was you, or is that the long-lost cousin from England that's the professor of apedom? I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you do go way back. We did find a movie tone reel in the Hercules show, if you remember that.
Yeah, back in the 20s when I was doing voiceovers.
Yes.
Hercules undertakes 12 labors to purify his soul, kills or captures 12 monsters. later joins Jason and the Argonauts for the search of the Golden Fleece and undertakes many other adventures alone, all involving his strength and his courage.
Who said the ancient Greeks weren't smart? I mean, they had tapes. It must have been unearthed, I guess, in the archaeological.
Where did you
digs.
find that?
Hey, listen, I do a lot of research for this show.
It's like movie tone news for the ancient Greeks.
Yeah, the research isn't all Wikipedia, by the way. Because I hear that all the time from Dave.
No, I'm just listen. I'm happy that you let me come on the air and make a complete fool of myself.
Speaking of which, let's hear what you did here with this.
Great.
This is Paul McCartney, and you're listening to Everything Old is New Again.
I actually was going to use that as what they call it, a return. You know, when you come back from commercials, you play a little something. And I was going to use that, but I thought that we'd have some copyright infringement problems. So I thought maybe McCartney, who's on lives, from what I understand, way out in Long Island, would hear that and think that that was him on the show.
Well, it didn't sound anything like Paul McCartney then, so I think we could have used it.
Maybe we will then from now on.
There you go.
Put
There you
Paul
go.
on notice. I know he's listening at this point. He goes to the podcast and listens. I know that. And then we had a turn with comic book characters. We had some fun with that.
If someone can come up to him at the deli counter and he can help with there, we have no more corned beef today, ma'am, but I have a nice brisket in the back. Let me go get it for you. Was that That was Batman.
That was Batman, your infamous Batman imitation. We will be doing a show again on comics in a couple of weeks. We're going to look at Gotham and DC Comics and what's happening on that front. But we've had some fun this year. I'd love to hear back any feedback that you, the listener, might have at oldisnewagain.biz. We certainly have a spot there. You can send us an email or directly to oldisnewagain@aol.com. We have a show coming up. I should say, what am I saying? We just did a show last week and the week before that we had listeners come in, and whether we read their emails or whether they listened and called in and took us to task on our September silliness.
Yes, they did.
And so we just had that last week. So we'll be happy to have people come on board if they have something to say and have actually listened to the show.
They don't have to have listened to the show. As long as they have something to say and they're willing to come on the show, we'll take you.
Only problem is we're not on Wikipedia yet, so you can't do any research on the show.
We're not?
Actually listen.
Come on.
How do you get on
How are we
Wikipedia?
not on Wikipedia?
Maybe I should look into that.
Get us on Wikipedia.
Isn't it created by whoever?
Anyone can add anything.
How do you create the original page, though? You do
You'll
that as
figure
well?
it out. You'll figure it out.
Send us a note. Let us know about that. Let's hear what Spider-Man would sound like under Dave's tutelage.
You need people to do that for him, and he's going to complain, and I can't breathe in this thing anymore. Get the mask off me. The old Jewish Superman.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were having fun with comic books and looking at the characters themselves, what they would do. So in the new year, we are looking back. We also want to look forward a little bit. We attended a Star Trek convention. We're going to have a nice couple of shows on that behind the scenes. We had some good interviews there. We had some real good interviews at the local convention in Ronkonkoma for the Long Island version of the Doctor Who convention.
Yep.
And we had some real fun there. Or that'll be upcoming as well. We had some fun with Jay Johnson, so we're on the way.
We're cooking, baby.
Yeah, but I do think that the heart of the show is our relationship, Dave and I. I hope that you're enjoying it, and if you've got some input and want to become part of the show, at least a smidge, again, get in touch with us
or put your chimp in touch with us. We'll have the chimp on. Also, anything.
Call
also
us. Changed our format. This is the first show of our 1 hour format. So we're going to be around at 11 o'clock to 1. What am I saying to 1? 11 o'clock till 12 o'clock on Saturday nights.
Don't push it now.
Full hour.
1 hour at a time here.
Yes. So, but that's a sign of your support. We certainly appreciate the general public out there. We also have a Facebook page. Please like us on Facebook, and we'll be right back to talk about more of our experiences in just 2 minutes.
Okay, what is happening now, Jay? Well, we're going to return to Everything Old is New again with Doug and Dave. Oh, okay. I got nothing else better to do.
All right, that's Jay Johnson from Soap, 1970s. We had him on a few weeks back talking about Jay Johnson, the one and only Broadway show that's available. He was good enough to join the show, and we had a lot of fun with him.
That was a lot of fun. It really was.
It was really great. So knowledgeable about ventriloquism, and I'm a geek for ventriloquism, so I was peppering him with questions about the history, which I know Dave loves so much.
No, but that was actually interesting because Jay was talking about the history, not you. So,
well, I couldn't work Star Trek into this particular show.
Oh, Star Trek.
But we do have a theme that does sometimes.
We do?
Once in a while.
Where you mentioned Star Trek? That
Yes,
just
once in a
doesn't
while.
sound familiar. No.
It's something that I find that is.
You're a fan of Star Trek?
Yeah, I'm a fan. It permeates
had
our
no
society
idea.
more often than
Permeates
not.
the show more often than not.
Yeah, so let's listen to 2 minutes of a compilation of what I've tried to do with Shatner in the first 35 shows.
I don't mind you tying Star Trek into every episode we do, but it's fun. I mean, I'm interested to see how William Shatner ties it.
I blame
And
William
numbers?
Shatner for all of this. This is Shatner's fault, and I'm going to tell you why. Richard Matheson wrote a novel in 1954 called I Am Legend, made a movie called The Last Man on Earth, that without Shatner, that movie would not have been made. If that movie would not have been made, Night of the Living Dead would not have been made. Bottom line, without Night of the Living Dead, there's no Walking Dead. Case closed.
It's Maxwell Smart, the control agent I told you about.
Did you hear that last voice?
I did. I don't remember.
That, of course, is none other than Leonard Nimoy with
The old Star Trek tie-in. No matter what subject we're talking about, Doug finds a way to bring Star Trek into it.
Mr. Leonard Nimoy.
A solar eclipse. The cosmic ballet goes on.
Does anyone want to switch seats?
I mean, millions of episodes. You have to find the one with Star Trek in it.
You will find that running throughout the show in general.
Looked out the window. I saw something on the wing of the plane. The same thing happened to me.
That was William Shatner, yet another Star Trek reference on our show. And
I'll give you that one because it's Third Rock from the Sun. It's a space thing. Fine.
but what
Star
were they
Trek.
referencing? If you're really a fan of our pop culture, you would know that William Shatner was on the Twilight Zone TV series
Yes.
in a classic episode where he's looking out the window and sees a gremlin.
Right.
And John Lithgow did the
Also.
1970s movie, same scene.
The Twilight Zone movie. And
Exactly.
He played the part that William Shatner played.
Yeah, I could be the new William Shatner.
Let's not get carried away.
I could, do that.
It wasn't that great. It was better than I thought. But,
Yeah, but Shatner's not that great. He sells albums left and right.
that was when you were singing like
Yes,
Shatner. Okay.
that was from our show about Disney princesses.
Right.
We also, in the beginning, just to give a little identification where all that came from, we did a show on zombies. And my theory of Shatner is the father of all
Yeah, we heard it.
zombies.
We heard it.
Okay. And then there was a quote there from Get Smart. That was our
Why
September
they heard it,
silliness.
Doug? You just play. You don't have to recap
the
it.
history,
It's
and then the 80s
the
and
history
the
of the
90s.
last 5 minutes. Let's go back and recap the last 5 minutes. So
We have to have a show for 2015 as a recap show.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is your fascination with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy really about?
Well, I grew up with them. I grew up watching them. I love the show. I watched them grow old on the movies. They had some significance to me. There was meanings to those shows, social meanings.
Were they like surrogate fathers for you? What was the real deal?
I
with
always,
these guys?
I tell you what, in my real life, there is always a battle between the logic versus emotion, and I find that struggle is all around us. And you've got some people that think logically, some people think emotionally. Just let that struggle between the two is something that it informs me about how people are and the way they live.
Surprisingly interesting answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like
and
that.
I've gone to many conventions and met them a number of times. They wouldn't acknowledge me as if they would know me, but they would nod their head and say, thank you for the $25.
Well, that's all in your head. They don't remember.
Well, they would thank me for the $25 I give them for the autograph.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. They'll remember you, quote unquote, for that.
There's
Sure.
that guy again. He wants an autograph again.
No, that makes sense. The logical and the emotional, and okay, I get it now.
We
Thank
could
you.
do a whole show on that, but maybe we will.
Why
the
not?
philosophy of
Why
Star
not?
Trek. But moving along on this show, there's another theme that crept up on us that I didn't think would be something that you hear and see a lot in the show, but it is singing, believe it or not. So let's hear a little of that.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. We have a special treat coming up right now. Douglas Viviani as Alfalfa singing.
Let me call you sweetheart. I'm in love with you.
Yeah, that's
there you
not
go.
bad.
Thank you. That's what I say.
That was going to be horrible, but it wasn't.
It's enough to at least try to put a child to bed, but I've done that, as I've said a number of times. My kids now, at this point when I sing, they put their hand over my mouth.
But your singing got a lot better, I have to say.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
was expecting it to be just disastrous.
Well, the songs that you gave me back in the day were, my Sharona and these songs that were like pretty high in the vocal range, and I really couldn't hit the notes.
It really sounded like Alfalfa. That was a problem back then.
By the way, Alfalfa didn't sound as good as I did. I'm going to propose to you.
He didn't. I'm telling you.
Well, there you go. There's our Exhibit A of vocals and our vocal range on this show. I don't know how it came about. But
because it came about because you were talking about a personal story about putting your kids to bed. It was during the princess thing, right?
Right. And now they don't no longer put their hands over their ears or my mouth. They just simply say,
"Is that right?" Oh, shh.
Little Leo's 2.5, and he says, "Shh," as quick as I start. I was going to audio tape that, but I didn't want to beat this to death here. Let's listen to Dave singing on the show.
Oh, God.
What's that song he used to sing all the time to Darla?
The Object of My Affection?
Yeah, I forget that one.
The Object of My Affection. There are places I remember. Just for the record, it's In My Life is the name of it. I started singing it. I didn't give you the title. There it is.
Because he was offended that I'm not challenging him.
Woke up, got out of bed.
What is that?
It's the same song.
It's a trick. It's the
trick
second part. It was a trick question.
A Day in the Life.
That was from our Beatles show, and they've your singing is much more low key and just look sort of in passing.
It's sexier. Is what you're trying to say.
Or are you going to someday come out and just belt one out?
I'll belt one out.
All right, so we'll challenge in 2000. How about a trivia question? If you write into us after hearing Dave actually belt out a portion of a song in 2015, I will send you Long Island Ducks tickets.
Wow.
How do you like that?
What if I call in? Does that count?
I will. They'll send you 2 sets of Long Island Ducks tickets.
That's second place, right? Okay.
And then, of course, we had a special guest singing for us at one point.
Now, that's really good, but, I mean, if Angelica wasn't 21 years old, I would say that's amazing, but...
I was just thinking that this is going to be a nightmare situation for her, because I have that whole song recorded that way, and I'm just flashing now when she gets married, the father dances with the bride, right? I'll play that.
That's perfect.
And either she'll love it, or she will,
Well, how old is she now?
She's 5.
She's 5. She's got good... She's got good pipes. I like it. There's potential there.
You have to hear when she wants dinner and it's not on the table. The pipes get a little bit annoying.
Yeah. It's not quite singing.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we tell her that she's a lollygag in the morning. I'm not a lollygag. It takes her forever to get ready for school. So I'm in for some trouble there with that one. But we've enjoyed it. We enjoyed presenting the show to you. We're, again, expanding to an hour. The show will be continuing the next half hour after the commercials. We have a little different format, but we are enjoying this experience. And I'm looking forward to the many, many topics we have coming up for this upcoming year.
Right. It's the same nonsense, just more of it.
Exactly. And
Excellent.
we're going to be talking about pirates. We're going to be talking about... We mentioned the Doctor Who convention, the Star Trek convention. We're going to be talking about. I should pull my list out here. I have a nice list, and it just goes on and on. The Universal monsters, ghosts, Twilight Zone, Man from U.N.C.L.'s got a movie coming out.
Plus, if our listeners have any topics they would like us to discuss, write us, email us, let us know your thoughts. We'll talk about anything.
Absolutely. And speaking of one we're working on right now, is we're going to do an actual play in the studio in the old time fashion, a radio play.
I didn't get this memo.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought I spoke to you about this one. Well, I'll be doing it. It might be a monologue, but we'll come back and talk about that. Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. We're going to interview Dave Cohen off the record here, and you know that he just completed a month or two ago the New York Marathon. Was that your first one?
That was my first marathon, New York City Marathon.
How much training goes into running for a marathon?
A lot. Well, yeah, a lot.
When did you start? You didn't run 20-something miles, on the treadmill from the beginning.
No, I started seriously about 3 months. I started to really up the mileage, and but I got hurt with about a month to go and didn't know if I was going to run. I got sick on top of that. It was just miserable, but I figured I just have to try it. And I did, and I'm glad I tried because I finished. That was my main goal.
Do you have anybody actually watch you too? I mean, how do you watch, like your wife, your son, or how do you...
Well, my wife was there. She saw me a couple of different parts along the route. My brother came in from Virginia. He also saw me. There's a tracking thing my parents were watching on the internet, so it was cool.
Great. We'll talk more later.
This show is sponsored by the law office of Douglas Viviani. Douglas Viviani has been providing quality legal services for over 26 years. We are a general practice firm and can handle any legal matter you may have for a reasonable fee. If you were involved in a car accident, starting a business, planning your estate, or need of a criminal attorney, please call 631-681-1910 or email us at vivianilaw@aol.com for a free consultation. Get the justice you deserve. Contact the law office of Douglas Viviani at vivianilaw@aol.com. Batman Dracula. Batman fights Dracula. Batman versus Dracula. Billy the Kid versus Dracula. Blackula. Blood for Dracula. Blood of Dracula. Good. Blood of Dracula's Castle. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula 1973. Bram Stoker's Dracula's Curse. The Brides of Dracula. Count Dracula 1970. Count Dracula 1977. Dark Prince, The True Story of Dracula. Dr. Dracula. Dracula 1931 film. Dracula Spanish language film. Dracula 1958 film. Dracula 1979 film. Dracula 2002 film. Dracula 2006 film. Dracula 2000, that's the title, Dracula 2000. Dracula 2012, Dracula Prince of Darkness, Dracula's Death, House of Dracula, I like Dracula's Death, House of Dracula, Scars of Dracula, Son of Dracula, Taste the Blood of Dracula, and Tender Dracula.
Turn that music up, that's the best part of it. Listen to that, that's classic. Little fun with the Dracula show. Go back and listen to that if you missed that one. That was great.
All the titles with the word Dracula in it.
And that was only a portion. I know that sounded like a long time, but it went on for quite a
I remember Dracula's dog. I remember that one. Crazy.
And then I read some as well. I mean, there's been, I forget the number, 273 Dracula movies.
Something like that.
So we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with Dracula.
And the movie we talked about, it was a total bust, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be some numbers on that. I really thought that was going to be a decent movie. It got like no publicity, right? I mean, I saw like 3 or 4 commercials, but while it was playing.
I don't know. I saw
before, but once they released the movie, the day after the release, I saw nothing.
The reviews are horrible. It was a horrible movie.
They've got to go back and do our version of Dracula.
Listen to that, people. Listen to our version of Dracula. I think it's really interesting.
It's got to be better than what went on there, obviously.
Yeah.
Strange. I didn't do a lot of these because this is kind of self-deprecating. I didn't spend a lot of time finding this, but there's a few phrases that I came up with that I say all the time. Let's just see what we got there. If you will, long story short, if you will. Long story short, but in my world, with long story short, now, my goal, honestly, was to do like 30 seconds of that. And I could. Oh, man, it took a long time to put this show together.
You could have done a whole show just on those phrases,
I had to listen to all 35 shows and listen for that. And it's hard. It's hard. Well, not hard to listen to the show. It's hard to listen for that because I despise that myself. I keep saying the same thing, and it's like nails on the blackboard, you know.
But if you strung them together, we'd have another 33 shows.
So you could go on and you can listen to them and put the clips down. Tell me what. Show number 1 at 2 minutes 32 seconds. There's one. But
in my world, Doug, no.
To your argument, I know that Dave says that one all the time. I was looking for that. What else?
I have to stop saying that. To your point, or to your
yeah. I don't find it.
And a lot of us. I a lot. I'm trying to cut
doing
that
radio is not the same as just talking, to the general public, ordering pizza or anything else. I mean, it's a different animal, and we're getting used to it, along with you getting used to listening to us do it. And I hope you stick around and also look back to the old of the old is new again on our podcast at everythingoldisnewagain.biz. So feel free to go back there and listen to all the different shows, if you will. We did have some fun with some personal stories, too. We got a little personal every now and again. Let's see what happens there. Do me a favor. Can you play that one more time?
Oh, we might have them.
Okay, that brings me back. That's definitely Mothra.
Yes.
Which is a moth, a giant moth.
That's the only one I actually knew out of all of them. I was like, I know this one.
I'll tell you why you knew. Because Mothra is the Muhammad Ali of these giant monsters. It's not really a personal story, but I'm trying to say that I personally love Godzilla, so we brought that to the table. Certainly there was a movie that came out, but we had some fun with a quiz there.
Yeah, you named every monster sound. That was pretty impressive.
And I won tickets to see Godzilla.
And did you go?
I did go.
No, you didn't. You said you didn't. You told me off the air you didn't go.
I didn't go, but I've seen it on. I took the tickets. I saw something else, but I to be honest, I didn't know I revealed that to you. But I have seen Godzilla, and I've seen it on my, on whatever you call it, the DVDs, on demand, whatever. I didn't think it was that bad.
So you
good.
did see it?
Yes, I've definitely seen it.
Okay.
And
I thought it was pretty good too.
I had fun with it. Let's put it that way. I didn't think it was great, but out of all the other nonsense that they produced,
True.
All this out of space Godzilla, robot Godzilla, whatever. This was a pretty good version.
I liked it. I thought they waited too long to bring him on the screen, but when they did, he looked really cool.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And he had a nice sound. Let's see what Dave thinks of Lauren Bacall.
My son plays rugby, and another parent of a kid on the team is Lauren Bacall's son. And I have not talked to him because I'm just stunned by the awesomeness of the family line. And I mean, if I said anything to him, it would be like, your mom was so hot. And I can't bring myself to do that.
That was our show about Humphrey Bogart and who's the next Humphrey Bogart, show number 2.
Right.
And Dave brought to the table a little something about Lauren Bacall. Have you seen that gentleman since?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. But she sadly has passed since that aired.
Right. I'm glad she was able to at least hear your dedication to her.
I'm sure she did.
And I'm sure that was something that was delivered to her immediately upon our recording.
Right.
Let's try this one.
So that was the first musical that I saw and you saw. We went together with some friends, and
we were naive, and we saw these fellows at the corner of the street. This is back in the 70s.
You're bringing this up.
And
no.
what happened there, Dave? I don't remember exactly
it's cloudy to me. I don't totally recall.
We all stood around,
right.
And we were excited. We just got off the subway. First time in the city without the parents. We had all these friends and girls and guys. We were having a great time. It was going to see Beatlemania. This is like the high point. And literally 5 minutes into the city, Dave lost every dollar he had.
It was. I lost 20, and then I figured I could do it again. Like I must have just missed the first one.
I remember you digging into those pants. Remember those? We wore those tight jeans back then, the Jordache.
The Jordache.
You were digging in. I can just see it as I sit here now. Just flashback of you digging into that pocket for another. The front pocket. You had like one more bill. You didn't have a wallet. You said like the one more
bills. I think it was like $60. I ended up blowing on it. I still feel bad about that. Thanks for bringing that up again.
You got to see his face. It's like it's bringing him back to a nightmare.
It was a low point in my life. Yeah.
You still remember it like that? How did you go back? Did you ever explain that to anyone, like when you went home to the parents, whatever?
No, luckily, thankfully, my parents did not. They gave me money and they didn't ask for it back, and so I thankfully I did not have to tell them what happened.
So it was basically, it was on you. And
it was on me. I felt horrible about it, and since that time. I've never done that again. I mean, I've run Monte Carlo games, but I've never played them. So that was the lesson. I've taken other people's money. That's the lesson.
For charity, of course. That can't be.
No, for me.
Overlooked. Oh, interesting. I'm glad I wasn't invited to any of those fixed, rigged games. We're going to go through a few more personal stories right after the commercials, but I wanted to take a moment just to talk about the new format that we have here, which invites us to be a little more personable. A couple of minutes or after each segment, we'll have a minute or two after each, let's say, half hour on the half hour and on the hour. And so if anybody wants to know anything about us, feel free to send us a note, oldnewagain@AOL.com, and we will respond in kind. In the alternative, if you have something to say to us, feel free to do that.
Anything to say to us.
Right.
We'll air it. Seriously.
I think one of the things we'll do in some of these little 2-minute segments is something about pet peeves. So I have a number of pet peeves.
Yeah.
And one of which I just can't, it just drives me insane, is when you go and you get a burger or something or anything and you get change back. And all of a sudden you remember the circus because the bills come back. They hand you the bill, and they put on top of the bill all these coins on top of it and hand it to you. And I'm supposed to, juggle these coins and get them into my pocket and all that all at once. I don't know where that came from.
So how would you prefer them?
Give me the coins first, and then give me the bill.
Oh, I see.
Count it out for me, please. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can we
what
give
was
it?
that?
So when you went to Cats, not to get away from this topic, but were you were on a date? You said. Right.
Yes, I was
Okay.
on a date, and I was trying to impress. I was actually wearing a sports coat, and I was and with these. If you remember the time, that was an interactive play where you sat down, and there was like right on like the seat next to you or the aisles, there were these cats, these people dressed up as cats,
Oh, right.
there, licking themselves and
Yeah.
all this. It was a lot of malarkey, but I put up with it because this girl really wanted to see this show.
So what happened? I mean, was it worth going to Cats?
Absolutely not.
It was the first and last date?
No. I continued to try to impress this young lady, but let's put it this way: that show and I guess the fact that at the end of it, first of all, me getting up and putting my jacket back on and intermission and saying, "Okay, let's get going," didn't impress her too much.
That was a great story. That was great.
And now with the new format, again, we're on for an hour. Obviously, you're listening to us now, so you recognize that. We'll have time to speak a little slower and to define and detail these and make these stories come alive with a little more color. So
Yeah.
that is exciting to me.
Definitely. Absolutely.
It's not necessarily exciting to reveal